Paradise in the Alpha's Arms, a novel written by Miss Honeyhearts.
Camila's POV. Noah trailed hot kisses on my neck. His hand fiercely caressed my thigh and lifted the hem of my short, sexy nightgown, making me gasp for air. Those wet, sensuous lips traced my sensitive skin, leaving love bites all over. I encircled his nape with my arms and savored all of his touches. Making out with him always brought me different kinds of pleasure because of how wonderful and tempting it was. Noah, I moaned his name.
I wanted no one but you, Camila.
He whispered, leaving my earlobe a soft bite. All I could manage to do was sharply close my eyes and take a forceful deep breath. He was driving me so insane I couldn't help but run out of air. I always wanted you, only you, my Noah. I ran my other hand down his chest to his abdomen and felt his abs against my skin. Holy crap. It felt so good that it turned me on and longed for more. He was topless above me while we were in bed making out. I was resting beneath his muscular body, wearing thin, black, sexy, daring nightwear, and embracing the bliss he was granting my body with his every stroke and love. As my hand reached his butt area, I pushed him down on me and moaned as I felt his member getting harder, teased as it landed on my sensitive part in between my legs. To feel each other more intensely, deeply, and tenderly, I wrapped them around his waist.
Fuck.
He cursed as he seemed to lose all his control. We wanted our bodies to rub against each other in rough and domineering ways, and our desire, hunger, and flaming eyes made us want to do just that. He cupped my breast and licked and kissed my neck and cleavage passionately. I gave him a good shove, and he drove his member even deeper into me. He began to move, and I followed, feeling the paradise he was luring me into with every tremble of pleasure he caused in my flesh. Ah! We were both struggling to breathe as we felt the need to sink our things in between our legs, which were brushing against each other with increasing intensity. When his lips touched mine, I kissed him back with just as much desperation. One of my hands was resting on his nape, caressing him and drawing him closer to me, while the other rested on his bare back, digging into his skin with my fingernails. He groaned and I moaned, till I felt an explosion inside of me and my body rocked. When he finally hit his peak, he screamed my name and collapsed on top of me, and I lost track of how many times I did C**M with him. With a heave of my chest and a gush of sweat, I awoke from my long, restless sleep and those recurring nightmares. I massaged my temple and sat on the edge of the bed. I looked around and realized I was still at the school's clinic. Yeah, these past few days, it almost became a habit to me that whenever I felt something wrong and my headaches attacked, I would go here and ask for medicine, and instead of just sitting to rest for a little while, I could fall in a deep sleep that I wouldn't even be able to watch the hours pass by, and I would awake, seeing from the glass windows it was already evening dark outside. Noah. I have dreamed of him again. Noah's my first love. We used to be so close and do those things I'd been having in my dreams since he left forever. We were about to be married, but a week before our supposed wedding, he died. If only I could turn back time, I would not have allowed him to go sailing on his own that one summer day when cruel fate took him away from me for the rest of my life.
You're sweating in your sleep even if the room's fully air-conditioned. Are you having a nightmare or a wild dream?
My eyes automatically landed on the man standing beside the door. Trey! Why I haven't realized he was actually there all the while. I glared at him. Were you watching me asleep the whole time? He only raised his brow. I couldn't help but gasp for air. All right, he was downright gorgeous and perfect as hell. I mean his physical qualities. He was even too good carrying with that black polo he was wearing, paired with black jeans and black shoes. Standing tall and proud with his arms and legs crossed, leaning his back towards the door. Cool and hot at the same time. And as usual, he was wearing that signature mocking smirk on his lips every time we met each other's gazes. He didn't answer the question I threw at him, and instead he went straight up to me, stopped right in front of me, and wiped the sweat off my neck with his handkerchief.
Let me guess, you were dreaming about that man you mistook me for? That man you said who looked exactly like me?
I violently and angrily shook his hand, causing the handkerchief to fall to the floor. That's one of my biggest mistakes ever, thinking even for a second that you were him. It was true, the first time I saw Trey here at school, I thought he was Noah, and starting that day, I followed him everywhere he went. But their big differences made me come back to my senses that Noah's already dead, and Trey couldn't even be compared to him, to his good and ever admirable qualities being a man. They might be looking alike, but that happens most of the time to different people, doesn't it? It's not as if it's new in the world to have people who look alike, even though they don't know each other. Maybe somewhere in this crazy world, someone looks exactly like me too. Who knows? But as I said, it's not new, so I shouldn't be so shocked and shouldn't even think silly that Trey and Noah are the same people, because they are clearly not. Noah, for me, is almost perfect. He's everybody's dream. Trey, on the other hand, is the total opposite. Arrogant, bad boy, self-conceited, and so full of himself. Indeed, he's famous at school and girls drool over him to get his attention, but aside from that, compared to Noah, he's totally nothing. I shook my head and stood up. I was about to pass by him, but he was quick and my eyes widened without warning. He grabbed my waist and pulled me closer to his body. I inhaled violently and tried to push him away, but to no avail at all. Let me go! But the more I resisted, the tighter his arms would wrap around my waist. Damn him! He drew his lips closer to mine. His facial expression was plain, and his eyes were so deep, as if watching and scrutinizing me from the depths of my soul. I couldn't move. It felt like my body froze and my eyes voluntarily closed as I felt his lips touching mine. The kiss was slow at first, but in just a little while his motion became rougher, hungrier, and longing for more. I found myself submitting to him and snaking my arms around his nape to pull him closer to me and give him more access. His hand caressed my waist up to my back, and I felt like I totally lost my sanity. His kisses trailed down to my neck, and I just hugged him, wanting to feel more from him, enthralling to feel him filling me completely.
If you would just allow, I could make you see that I am better than him, and I could make you happier than he made you feel when he was still with you.
He whispered in my ear. All the erotic sensations I was feeling that very moment were cut short, and it felt like cold water was splashed straight into my face that made me come back to my senses. I pushed him to my best effort, and finally I was able to be freed. How dare you dragged him into this, and how dare you kissed and touched me? He looked at me angrily.
But you clearly submitted, Camila. Your body wanted me.
I firmly shook my head in huge disagreement. No!
You may deny it, your lips may, but your hunger for my touches couldn't.
I slapped him. And right after that, I was torn between feeling regretful or feeling satisfied. Glad that I had the guts to give him what he deserved, but regretful at the same time because I believe I only contributed to aggravating the situation, especially now that he was so outraged that he seemed like a beast ready to strike on his prey. He grabbed my arms, and by instinct, I tried my very best to fight him. Let me go, I kept yelling. As I got the chance to be released from his hold, I took continuous steps back. To be honest, I had no idea if I was imagining things when I thought I saw a fleeting look of melancholy across his eyes behind his anger.
Camila.
He tried to hold me, but I kept on stepping back and I didn't let him. Don't touch me.
I am not him, but I am alive, Camila. I could give you the things, the happiness he stopped giving you the moment he left you forever.
And he kept moving forward to reach me. Shut up, I shouted angrily and almost at the top of my lungs. I know you're not him, and you're two completely different people. You're alive and he's dead, but I don't care. I don't need you, Trey, or your promises, or your capabilities to allure my body because, as I said, I would only look at and want only one man. Dead or alive, I would only love Noah and not anyone else, especially not someone as wicked and as arrogant as you are.
Camila!
I said don't touch me, I shouted again and flinched when he was about to reach for my hand. I kept on shaking my head in disapproval and disgust for him. Don't you ever touch me again. I don't want you touching me, and don't you dare do to me what you just did earlier. I could never permit you to kiss me.
But your body already did, Camila. You just don't want to admit it, but your body craves my touches too, like how I want you.
My body might sometimes betray me, yes, but in my head, I know I shouldn't trust someone like you. I felt the cold railing behind me, an indication that there was no longer any space I could take a step back to. Don't!
Camila.
He was able to corner me and hold my shoulders. I fought him hysterically. Every time he was close to me, I felt like I could lose control of my own body, and that scared me to hell. I could only allow Noah and nobody else to make me feel this way. Don't touch me! Let go of me! His hold became firmer and tighter.
Camila, stop fighting and listen to me.
No, I won't listen to you. Who do you think you are? I could always choose who I talk to and who I don't want to talk to, and you clearly belong to the latter group. My body shook and tugged as I struggled to break free of his grip, and once I finally did, I screamed at the top of my lungs because I'd lost my balance. By moving my weight outside the safety of the railing, I fell from the deck.
No, Camila!
I heard Trey screaming in complete horror. I was expecting to fall hard on the ground floor, break my bones, and taste my own liters of blood spitting everywhere as I prepared to face my life's end. That, however, was not the case. Instead of the cold, horrible floor, I felt the strong and firm arm wrapping my body so tight that protected me from reaching the ground on the verge of my supposed falling to doom. I found myself beneath him, with him above me. I was caught by one of his arms as the other pressed against the ground, and he used all his strength to keep us from the friction of high falling. He caught my eyes as I fixated on him, and when I thought I glimpsed a flash of crimson in his eyes before they returned to their usual brown, I must have been dreaming, right? My eyes wandered unconsciously to his hand on the floor, and for a single second I wondered whether I was still dreaming or hallucinating as I caught sight of its abnormally long fingers, thick hairs, and long nails. However, in the blink of an eye, it reverted to its normal form as a human's hand. His expression was concentrated and intense, bordering on anger, but for a split second it seemed like fear had crept into his soul for the first time. Was he scared that I was about to face life to its end? But why would he feel that way? There's no reason for him to care. I was nothing to him and he was absolutely nothing to me. He helped me to straighten my feet and then let go of me. I shook my head, confused about all the things I witnessed that happened right before my eyes. Your eyes, they were red. Your paws, fingers, and nails looked as though they were of an animal. I couldn't be wrong, I really saw it. He looked away and plainly shook his hands as if everything that happened was only a piece of cake compared to his strength. My supposed ending, my falling from the high floor to the ground, the way he saved me and held me to protect me in his arms, as if all these things he did so easily and he didn't endure any pain. Considering that we both fell from a high point, you didn't break bones. Our bodies should have at least fallen directly on the cold ground, don't you think? But how were you able to manage that? With just one hand on the ground while the other held my body with ease, you were unharmed. Nothing happened to you, not even a bruise, and that's not how humans usually end up after falling so highly. What the heck were you, Trey, and why were you so strong?
I know you told your friend you're not okay, and tell me what's wrong and why you never said you felt that way. And guess you're trying to stay strong and fake a smile until I look away. But I've known you too long, it hurts to watch your
To be continued.
fade to gray as you fade away, as you fade away.